Alright guys, so we got ourselves a PvT up against CTT Meaty Pawn, and we're going to walk you guys through a solid Protoss opening. Now this is one of my favorite ones that's taken over. I had a phase where I was doing really silly builds in this matchup. Chad's Balls, of course, is one, if you guys frequent the YouTube channel, you would have seen a lot of. For a few months there, it was like every other day I was putting up a new Chad's Balls games because they were always so funny. It was just running around with Void Rays and Disruptors. So we're going to play real safe. We're going to go for a pylon here so we can wall off the jump. Good luck, have fun, yo. Nope. Ranked. And we'll just rally that there. You could have sent a worker a little earlier. They can't jump on that bit. You just need gateway there, core there. Take the gas. Queue up an extra probe first. So it's always chrono boost the moment the pylon finishes, of course. This guy's queued to attack. It says I'm on rank. Yeah, it's a shared pool of players.
My man!
It's shared pool. Okay, so we do damage, and when you lose all your shields, you just run away. Now we put one worker on gas, and then our 19th probe, we want to rally to build the Nexus. This guy needs to stay away, because if he gets hit, he stops regenerating. And, okay, he's going to fight for another moment. We change the rally point back to the gas. We control group him. He's going for a scout now. And let's go. Unranked Armor is not high. Oh, it's not bad. And at a minute 40 is usually when they get the cash to put down the command center, so that's when you want to really start committing to blocking it. We've restarted probe production after the cyber core. Ooh, keep it blocked, keep it blocked, keep it blocked. Dance, 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 dance. I can dance all day, I can dance all day, I can dance. Ooh, he's gone Marine first. Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. Now, a lot of people would put their pylon on the low ground. If you guys struggle against Hellions, put this second pylon on the low ground. I like to put it up here just to kind of hide my tech a little bit, make it harder for them to see. So technically I could still just build it here, and it's, you know, not the easiest for them to spot. Now I'm going to go Stalker. Oh, actually we are going to go Adept first. Oh, that pylon's really late. Sorry, guys. I'm not used to talking about all the details. I've just made the fundamental screw up we all do as Protoss players, and that's not building that straight away. So if he went Reaper first, that Reaper would kill a couple probes here before this Adept comes out. Behind this, we are going to go Robo. So you're going to build that Robo no later than 235. You can build it a lot faster. But you want to also chrono boost that and chrono boost your second gateway unit. Now we know it was Marine first, so we don't need to worry about defense at all. I'm even going to rally the Stalker to the Adept and just see, maybe he skips the bunker, maybe we find some damage. Now don't queue up a third gateway unit yet. Why? Because we want to make sure we instead get our second and third gateway built on time. If you don't build the second and third gateway just around the 3-minute mark, you do end up a bit more vulnerable to certain things, like your opponent coming at you with some reorders, like a bit of a cheeky dickhead. He built an expand, so this is just probably a 3-racks opening. I'm actually like not even gonna respect it, guys. We're gonna not even build. We're not even gonna build an Immortal. We're just gonna build an Observer straight away. You might be like, "Are you crazy, pig?" And just Stalkers, and we just defend the high ground.
Here in the shadows, I serve now. I am
And that's why, just focus fire, pull probes. I didn't actually lose any probes, keep in mind.
research complete.
And then we want to take a third gas, we're going to move out ready for the third. Observer desperately needs to get some information. Because we were occupied with that Robo Bay is very late. We've got 3 Stalkers. So just probing for now, we're going to put workers on gas. So this has forced us off the most standard version of the opening. But essentially what you want to do is you would only want to go, okay, main army there, and then you have another squad. I'll make an Adept just because I don't have that much gas. And these guys in there. And the idea is this keeps you safe against a Widow Mine drop. Probably don't need that in this game, but that's okay. It's better be safe than sorry. And we put these 2 observers, one on either side, to see drops coming in. And it's very important we see what the hell is going on in this base. And it is actually going to be a 2-1-1. So not a 3 barracks, but 2 barracks. So we're going to have a double drop coming up, guys. Now that's a pretty scary push. It's really powerful. So let's make a Colossus with no delay. It does also mean, though, that he can't really multi-prong right now. Ooh, hello. All right, we're going to take that observer, and he's going to become the front base observer. And we've delayed our third base a lot here. Let's also get Viagra, aka Colossus range. And let's rally probes to the third, since these two are saturated. Now, against this, you don't really need a ton of... Okay, you don't need a ton of probes or anything like that. We're just going to build a shield battery there. We're also going to build a shield battery in the main base. Just here, because that protects the probes, but it'll also protect units that fight here if he drops us. And let's try and get another pylon. We are supply blocked a little bit. Where are those drops? Oi, stop scanning my boys! Oh my god, what a dickhead. Alright, I'm gonna go up here. This guy here is just looking for drops coming across that way, hoping that it gives me the extra vision. And I'm gonna put a probe out the middle, just to make sure we could try to fill these holes. Behind this, Twilight and Forge, because we need to get that tech. I'd like to get one gas up. And hello, what's up? I don't know what the hell he's doing. So we're just going to pull home, because I don't know if that's all of his units or not. It's kind of ballsy being out there in the first place. And yeah, we're going to try to get up here and just figure out what the hell this build is. He's definitely playing a bit weird. Oh no! Who the fuck goes for a delayed Widow Mine drop, man? That's crazy. You're not allowed to do that. So we're chronoing probes right now. It looks like, because he's doing that, I kind of see that and the third base on location as signs of him being, okay, I'm a macro boy. You know, I want to do the macros. So these guys are all on my drop defense hotkey, and they are positioned to take care of that. What we're going to do, by the way, we're going to do what we call the tricky maneuver. We're going to come around behind, and we're going to try and shoo that medevac into those stalkers with a hallucination. So if he's not paying attention, it will run away from the hallucination that's, oh no, totally doing real damage to it, and hopefully kill it. Will it work? No, he's put it on hold position. Damn it. What a tryhard. Doesn't make him a tryhard, pig. Don't be mean. He doesn't have a Raven, but we like to go a Warp Prism anyway, so we can do some pressure on the other side of the map. And what we're kind of late on this game, because everything's been delayed, is the Gateway Explosion. So, the Gateway Explosion. I don't like positioning. I don't want to wall off my own base, pig. What the hell, man? We're making Zealots just because they're nice and tanky. Fixing that up. We've got Charge almost done. And we want to go Templar Archives here as well. So there we go. We've got a Warp Prism. We've got some dudes hanging out. My probe count's not amazing. It's not terrible. I don't really know what his composition's going to look like here. Don't know if he's got units out here or not. Okay, so we will try to make some Zealots. We'll make armor off just a single forge. Now, you want to set up ready, I guess, for this. Oh, hello. He's going to kill the Cybercore. I have no fear of his army at all, by the way. We're going to Chrono Blink as well as +1 armor.
I am the voice.
And we want to hit him. I really want to just go kill him, guys. So that's going to go there. We're going to make a round of archons. We're going to try to make a fourth base.
Mineral field depleted.
Okay, archons are ready. So because this is so wide open, we want to try and just attack. See if we can get up there. Now, he's going to rotate to the right, and we're going to just attack the third in the open, because it's just too obvious. So we move just out of scan range.
Mineral field depleted.
Nice micro by him.
When can Protoss double forge safely?
Command me.
You can always double forge, just depends on your build order. Great question, but it just is up to how you're playing. For me, I'm going much more tech focused, which is why I'm not. I think EF2'd his drop back, so I want to bring those stalkers back into my army. We're going to now set up zealot run-bys on all sides, and we're very slow to transition because I wanted to commit a lot harder to that than I normally would. But when you go to the next stage, it's always the same setup, which is get the robos, get more stuff. Do I have sentries? I do.
Research complete.
And we're very blind right now, so this kind of is really bad. Let's get some pylons so we at least have forward warp-in spots, and my probe count's only 68, so I'm desperately trying to make more probes and get down for that. Zealots are running in. They're running into a very well-prepared Terran player who has not moved out, so I shouldn't have done that. But this prism will go in the back. As soon as he comes out, we're going to send that in. We're going to put a zealot there, a zealot there. We've already got a probe here. And, yep. We do now have double forge. So double forge, double robo, all this happens around the same time you go for the fourth. And then you also get the DT shrine, because DTs are literally the most imber unit in the game.
Let our enemy know our fury. Our pylon is under attack. I am here in the shadows. Mineral field depleted. I am the voice of the eclipse. I live on.
So we're queuing those up to attack that stuff, trying to get some zealots in. And we're going to start trying to pick away with some disruptors. So you can also get a third robo. Some people think, oh, 2 robo, that's all you need. Screw that. Don't be a coward.
Mineral field depleted.
Zealots running in from there. Goodbye, goes. No?
Presiding, we begin. Consciousness. Upgrade complete.
Hello.
Ancient glory. I live on.
Okay, we've still got double upgrades. We've still got triple robo. Oh my god. So my disruptors there all decided to go a different path to the rest of my army. Very wisely done, guys. I really enjoy that. So these DTs are going to try and run there, and then there. We're also going to run a DT up here, and another DT here.
From the shadows I come. Speak. And presiding.
We're going to try and get observer speed and the other one as well. So the DTs all ran in, and even though we lose on the front, we didn't really lose because we killed every single one of these dudes. His liberators were the big danger. Got DTs in his base. Yeah. Splitting the DT damage up.
We begin your demand, ancient. We begin anew. Presiding. I am the research complete.
And most importantly, we're now getting a mixture of colossi, disruptors, and the other ones up, and we're able to finish it. GG. Really good defense by him of the timing, as well as just a very odd opening. He did the 2-on-1, but then he didn't actually commit to it until really, really late. So losing the Adept early, of course, was a bit of a bummer. He did the Marine into the Tech Lab, caught me off guard, so I needed to be a little bit quicker right at the start. And this is something that happens so rarely, you're normally not looking for it. But that very first Adept. So first probe goes over, it does get cornered because he goes Marine first, but it doesn't matter, it blocked the hatchery and stuff. But this Adept, if I was paying a bit closer attention and shaded back just a little bit quicker, we could have got out of there. As it is though, I'm pretty happy that I didn't build the shield battery because I realized just chrono a Stalker. Normally, I'd, like I said, delay the third gateway unit to get the second and third gateway down, then build the third gateway unit, the Observer, and then the Robo Bay. We changed the build order here because we knew there was a pressure. I'd lost one of my gateway units. I was like, shit. So I chronoed that, built the third gateway. You can see, rather than being at the same time, that third gateway is later. And I pull a bunch of probes. And I basically just said, look, Stalkers, focus one Marauder then the other. And I was ready to pull back any probes that he focused on. And we see that probes kick the shit out of Marauders. Easy peasy. So we get a nice hold there. However, we're distracted. And that means, uh-oh, remember what I said? Where's me Robo Bay? My Robo Bay is very delayed because we're busy microing. We got that pylon. Robo Bay finally goes down. But we get some observers out. Now, it could have been a 3 racks follow-up to that Marauder pressure or a 2 racks. We don't know which one it was. Because of that, I held off my third base. Often I'll try and squeeze the third in nice and quickly. But in this game, I was like, let's just try to warp in units, you know, try to keep some safety. We're going to go more observers. We're going to go for the collosus straight away, get the 4 gas up, and drop the third a little bit slower. So what I'm essentially saying is, check it out. We're at 40 probes. I'm going to hit 45 probes well before my third's finished, which means I'm going to be just sitting on 45 probes or over-probing my 2 base while I wait for that next step. Now, we came in, and at this point, I saw, wait a second. Oh, this setup here tells us something. That means the starport swapping onto the reactor, and we're going to see 2 medevacs come out. So this is a quick double medevac. It's a 2-1-1, but maybe with a few more Marauders mixed in than normal. Also a super quick +1 attack with it, and an early missile turret. So a very weird build order, trying to be safe against DTs, I guess, at the same time. It's really weird to have such a fast engineering bay, which is why I was a little bit befuddled by this build, because you'll notice I pulled back without seeing the engineering bay or the turret. And already this felt a little bit late, but I was like, oh, he went to a Marauder pressure. If he builds 2 medevacs, like, they won't be the fastest. But actually, no, these are very slow, what'll be coming out. And check it out. I didn't look back. I assumed they swapped. He didn't swap. He just builds a medevac and goes for a Widow Mine drop. Just a very late one. So he kind of goes into this weird middle ground. I was trying to read his build as if it was like a really, you know, common build following the one of the established lines, but this was a bit of a free roaming weirdo build where he's going stim and lots of Marines and Marauders and shields and stuff, but he's not actually planning to use it until a bit later. So it's a bit more of a different version of it. In terms of, because he kept scanning my observers, that actually worked out really well for him. It meant I didn't see the Widow Mine drop coming because I had to keep pulling my observers to the front. The threat of multiple barracks means I had to keep building Colossus to be properly safe. And even though I came in, I wasn't looking at it the moment it got in there, and the Widow Mine drop comes out and surprises me. I actually had a Stalker over here trying to shore up a hole in my vision, but I don't think I quite saw it. If I did, I didn't notice it. Barely got a glimpse of it, did not pay attention to that, unfortunately. So I was like, oh, he's coming out with a frontal push. I went out and actually intercepted his units and zoned them back. He builds his third on location. Super greedy, especially when he's getting pushed back by a Colossus. So I could have killed that. I didn't know about it though. And then unfortunately, me with my great minimap awareness, don't even have a spotting pylon on the edge of the main, do end up taking about 6, 7 probes. How many probes do we lose there? 10? 1, 2 plus 7, 9. 9 probes go down there. Ouch. But we do start finding our way back to the normal path. So remember, what is the normal path? We're going to get the 4 gases up pretty early, get the third base. Like I said, sometimes I like to get the third after just 3 gas, then add the 4th gas. Did the third slightly later this game. Shield batteries whenever you're not sure what's happening, but it looks like your opponent's being aggressive. Remember, I still hadn't seen a third command center at almost 6 minutes, so I started putting down those safety shield batteries. And I was warping in relatively continually off my 3 gateways. Whereas if I saw a third command center or I felt like there was no threat, I would have probably stopped at maybe 1 or 2 less gateway units, not been warping in anymore. And I could have already been jumping to the next step, which is this. Forge for +1 attack, Twilight for charge, both very important upgrades. So it's always Forge, Twilight, 5 more gateways to take you up to 8 gate production, a Templar Archives, and then more pylons. And that's like a set piece of Protoss play. Now, it gets delayed a lot in this game because I'm trying to figure out what's happening, and then I'm reprobing, and I'm kind of mixing and matching things. But you can see I did have the mineral bank for a while. I was just a bit confused about my opponent's build and was kind of going, oh, what's he doing? Remember, when in doubt, if your opponent's play doesn't make that much sense, it's better for you to just hit your basics. And these gateways absolutely could have been hit earlier. But gateways, Templar Archives, and then a bunch of pylons. Do we remember those pylons on time? We already had a few extra pylons that I'd kind of built for spotting behind the mineral lines, so it was okay that I delayed them a little bit. As soon as the Cybercore goes down, I knew his army wasn't a match for mine, so we immediately rebuild it. Charge is finished here. And I went for a really basic timing attack. Now, looking at how this game went, the damage from the Widow Mines and all that sort of stuff, in hindsight, I think a better choice, unless I really saw an opening from my opponent, was to just play a bit more of a standard game. Or if I was going to attack on the front, I do think we should have sent the Prism around the back, right? I didn't have that many Stalkers, but I did have enough. So there's a few things I should have done better with this attack. If you're going to commit, by the way, 8 or 9 gateways, make sure your +1 attack, your charge is done. You don't really need anything else. As always, warp in Archons with that big gas bank. We had a 1200 gas bank. We turned that into 4 Archons. Warp in another round of Zealots and then go. And that's such a powerful army for smashing Bio. But he did a really good job of getting Vikings out on time. He positioned himself well. He pulled back to the mineral line. He pulled back to the choke points. And he let my units kind of get separated and caught out. So how could we have made this better? 2 things. Number 1, yes, warp in some units, but then send the Prism around the top. I think it's so much power. If you go in that main, you get Prism Zealots in that mineral line, you don't even need to do damage on the front. You're tearing him up at home. So that's step 1. Step 2, split 2 to 3 Zealots off the main army and go zwoop-de-doop and run into the natural and shift-click those SCVs at the same time. And then, as you want to hit everything at once, main army probably goes in slightly first in this case because you're not reinforcing the main army. So in that scenario, your main army is actually more of a distraction. You go in, you look for an angle, you look to try and pick off units, pick off SCVs, but you're not going to headbutt in. Why? Because you're committing a warp in plus a loaded Prism to the main. You're committing 3 Zealots to the natural. A solid 1/3 of your army is not on the front. So you don't want to be like, yeah, let's go, because that's stupid. You want to go, yeah, let's go, look like you're doing that. And then when your opponent responds and focuses everything on the front, everything else is timed to come in a few seconds afterwards, running in those 2 other signs. And this is something as a Protoss player, if you're not as confident in your frontal attacks and your micro, or if you're macroing behind it, we did start a 4th behind this, even though we hadn't gone for the extra robos and the DT shrine and all that stuff, which looking at our bank, we could have started. If you're wanting to do this where you're not as confident in those frontal fights, this is such a good way to stress out your opponent's multitasking, to find damage, and it just puts less pressure on you winning the frontal fight. It also teaches you to multitask a little bit. People go, oh, I can't control units in 3 locations. Guys, it's fine. Just fucking warp in. You can have the Prism. When you grab the Prism, it's literally you right-click, shift, right-click, holding down shift the whole time, right-click, press the siege up mode, and these Zealots here, you grab them, you steal them off your control group, and you just A-move. You just click them in the mineral line. So they run past any rallying Marines and Marauders. Once they get to the mineral line, they'll start fighting stuff. Once you poke in the front, you just glance up there. The Prism is queued up. It's walked in. It's sieged up. Warp in 8 Zealots. Use rapid fire preferably to make it easier for yourself. And all you do is you grab those Zealots once they're warped in and you click them in the mineral line. I was saying, oh, shift click the SCVs. That's some GM shit. If you guys aren't that high level, you're not that mechanically fast, you don't need to do that, okay? You don't need to be focus firing Zealots. Just get Zealots in the mineral lines and you'll do fine. Be like, oh, but then how do I manage all 3? You don't. You just click them in the mineral line and you look away. You don't manage them at all. And you'll see I do that same thing very often, okay? So don't overcomplicate things. Someone in chat said, why no Storm? So that's why would I make Storm with this, I guess, is how I'd answer that. So a lot of people like to ask questions that are not the most well-formed. And this is not hate on you, but I try not to... I have actually a rule, which is don't ask why not questions. Because if you think Storm's a good idea here, please tell us why you think Storm. And people often say, well, you know, I don't have confidence in that, or I don't have enough game knowledge. I'd like you to tell me. But what it ends up being is I don't like being used as an encyclopedia, and I also like encouraging people to have their own opinions in the game and to push those, even if they're a brand new player. You're never going to get better if you don't have your own opinions. So that being said, I will answer it because it's a very understandable question. We're going Colossus and Archons here. We're going for a ground-pounding fighting army. Storm's very good defensively. You can use it offensively with Storm drops, but in general, Storm is more of a defensive spell. And we've already got splash damage. We're already just adding raw, meaty units to get in front of the Colossus. Zealots and Archons. They're also very simple units. They're going to attack, move, and they're always going to do their job. Whereas Storm, on the other hand, it's very hard to push into your opponent. Because when you're attacking... like I did. Notice he spreads his units back in these big arcs. Not very useful. When the opponent's pushing into you, their units are naturally going to ball up. That's where you can find big Storms. So Storm is much more of a defensive spell, not as much of an offensive spell. Cool. So we've talked about that timing attack. I've talked about how if I was going to do it, I should have been hitting the mineral lines, not committing as much, especially because I'd taken damage early and I was behind where I should have been. But in the follow-up, what do? 4th base, DT Shrine. 2nd Robo. You could even get a 3rd Robo and a 2nd Forge. All go down, right? So you want to go into Disruptor production and DTs. You want to set up pylons on the edges of the map, which we're going to do in a few minutes. So you've got warp-in points everywhere, even if your prisms die. You're going to leave zealots waiting on the edges of the map. Now, I was low on map vision, so I was doing these lazy zealot run-bys, which made no sense. If I had proper vision, and if he hadn't scanned and killed 3 different observers this game, I would see that he's not on the map, and I would just wait. Zealots wait here. These zealots wait down here. And I don't even need to have them on a control group. The idea is when your opponent's out of the map doing other things, that's when you send the zealots in. When you're attacking the front, or when they're out of the map attacking you, that's when your zealots go in. And if you go in, you see bio, you run the heck away. You just click them back. And what we often saw when we actually were casting Trap, you can grab these zealots, right-click on the minimap up here, and then shift A move back into the same base. So you're literally queuing them to say, run away, disengage, come back 30 seconds from now. And you don't even need to look at it. So in one moment, you've said disengage, re-engage 30 seconds from now. And you can even do that on both sides. Zealots, right-click back, shift A move back into their base. Your Zealot's going to disengage and then re-engage. And that creates a lot of problems because the Terran would like to have their army kind of grouped up together. They want to micro their EMPs, their Vikings. They don't want to split bio off and have to stim and stutter step it in multiple areas. And if they don't split enough bio off, or if they don't stutter step it in stim, they're actually going to get wrecked by Zealots. If you A-move Zealots, they charge, they stab, they do their job. Bio, on the other hand, will not stim, and it will not micro backwards without you actively looking at it. So the power of Zealot run-bys is it takes them a lot more APM to deal with it than it does take you to execute. It makes it harder for them to push across the map, so it can buy you time. In a moment here where I'm like, shit, man, I have no splash damage. My army's kind of shit. It buys me time, and it can also punish them really hard by getting massive economic damage whenever they're out of position. So it's very powerful. Jimmy says, won't an attack move in their base attack buildings? No, not at all. You can't attack move a building on the minimap, can you guys? I'm pretty sure you can't do that. Pretty sure if you attack move in the base, it'll just go into the base. Does anyone know, can you attack move an enemy structure on the minimap? Because this is something I don't even think about. I'm like, do I subconsciously click in the dead space over there? I'm pretty sure it can't attack buildings on the minimap. You actually can, like, Florencio says, yeah, apparently you can hit a building if you A-move onto it. You'd need to test it, but like I said, you can just A-move on the ground. There's always these big wide open areas. So using the, you just shift A-move on the ground. Shift A-move on the ground. And it doesn't matter if, definitely not on units. Definitely not on units, yeah. I think what they mean is if you attack move their base, the units will stop and attack their buildings and not move to the mineral line. Well, because this is the front of the base, you got to remember that that's all you're attacking. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that's a good point. Yes, they might stop on the front. It's totally optional. Sometimes you click in the mineral line. Sometimes you just A move because you're like, no, we're just going to overwhelm whatever bio's there, and that's it. Yeah. Right click attack move. You can use right click if you want to move to the mineral line. A move if you just want to overwhelm whatever's there at the front. It's up to you guys. It depends on what you want. But basically, once you get disruptors, you want to poke the front. Obviously, that pathing error, I was like, oh my god, you're kidding me. The rest of the army moved left and these guys moved right. But the idea is you want to try and engage wherever their front army, and your disruptors just throw shots out and pull back, throw shots out one at a time and pull back. You just keep running by with zealots. And then you want to make DT blink, and you want to start running, as you're getting up towards 3-3, you're just running zealots and DTs, you're splitting DTs into their bases. And the idea is you can escalate that. So there's a lot of a point where Protoss players feel they can't beat the Terran army head on. And they're like, oh, I got to make Tempests. Don't ever make Tempests, you fucking tryhards. It's the stupidest thing you could possibly do. Don't get me wrong. A couple Tempests to pick away at them in a very small number of situations is awesome. But most of the time, you're much better off actually controlling the map with mid-tier units. So notice we catched him not sieged up. We ran forward, caught all of his units, and engaged him without all of his sieged up. If he was sieged up properly and spread out, he crushes this army. But as long as we're on the map, every time he tries to unsiege and move forward, we're throwing disruptors at him. We're focus firing the liberators that run in front of the army. And we're basically saying, hey, if you actually want to move across this map, you're going to have to fight me with about half of your army not really set up the way it wants to be. Yeah, catched is a word, guys. I speak good English. Je parle non anglais. What can I say? And then if they ever try to force you on the front, they just can't push through disruptors. So the idea is, like, in that fight, why did he mess that micro up so hard? Well, 4DTs just hit multiple bases and took down all of his turrets. So if you start hitting them with these zealots and these DT problems, they can't actually micro against the disruptors at the same time, and they definitely can't push through disruptors. So at any point where the Terran is not defending their economy and they're forced all in and they have to push through disruptors, as long as you have enough disruptors and you patiently throw out one shot at a time, they cannot kill you, and it is checkmate. As Protoss, if you get to disruptors and DTs, you've got the game in the bag if you use that composition correctly. Have just enough stalkers to help with the libs. You can go up to maybe 15 stalkers if they have a shitload of libs. You don't want too many. And just obviously you can have a colossus or two mixed in. You can have some zealots, some immortals, but mostly it's about having disruptors to fudge up the ground units and enough stalkers to try to shoot down libs if they go into lib production. So hopefully that helps you guys out. It was a little bit of a different order, but I like this build order for a couple of reasons. You've got Robo first. Why is that good? You get 3 observers really early, and it gives you amazing map vision, which is awesome, right? You get to see everything that's on the map with those observers. In that case, he scanned them. That's kind of annoying, but you can even replace them if you do choose to skip a bit of Colossus production. He's spending a lot of money that he could have mined with scans to take out those observers. So number one, you get great map vision. That's really good. I always have those 2 observers on either side of my base, the one on their side, scouting what they're up to. Other than that, you're going into 3 gateways really early, which means you can have 6, 7 gateway units ready in each mineral line by the time a standard Widow Mine drop or a Hellion run by comes in. That's the basics. If you guys can, by about the 4-minute 40 mark, 4-minute 30 mark, have 7 gateway units up, you are good to go. All the early pressures get held by you just having 7 gateway units. You then want to have a Colossus or 2 out by the time those big stim pushes come, and that is really the big piece which allows you to defend those big stim pushes. Even if they have a tank or 2, you just want to move out front and engage them before the tank siege up. Don't let them get a really good position, or tanks do really well versus Colossus. But if you engage them and shave off a lot of the bio, force them to siege a few times on the way across the map while maybe your charge kicks in or you get a few more warp ins, that's when you can take out those pushes really well. Add the Zealot charge, add the Archons off 8 gates, and then go effing kill them. If you guys do a decisive 2 or 3 Colossus, Zealot Archon push, it's usually going to kill a Terran player, and it's very low micro. Like I said, it's mostly an attack move army. Activate Guardian Shield, attack move their 3rd base, and then hands off the keyboard and mouse and have a good smile. Hopefully this one helps you guys out. That's my favorite PvT style. It goes back to classic legacy PvP, Robo first. None of this fancy blink stuff. You don't have as much maneuverability with the anti-air and the harassment defense. But let's be real, guys. I've coached a lot of you right through to Masters League, and most of the time you're not using your blink properly anyway. This is way better because your observers are going to see where they're coming from. You can get your stalkers in position. You don't need blink because then, you know, you've just got the units in position on time. You've got the Colossus for the follow-up. It's a much easier style of PvT, and I hope you guys have a lot of success with it. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the content, share it with a friend who's struggling in the matchup. Like and subscribe. Check out the merch below, and yeah, check out the Patreon as well. Click like. Good night, guys. See you in the next one.